Hello investors and traders, and welcome to the wonderful world of fan patterns. Fan pattern is a tool that's used to show an acceleration of a trend, but most importantly it's used to manage risk, to show when a trend is beginning to exhaust itself. Now this is an actual chart of the diamonds, and it's a monthly chart going back 20 years actually. And I've zoomed into the most recent upward trend so you could see how to start the fan. At first glance, this looks like a typical upward trend that you might find in any stock or index. But look carefully where I start this trend. It's at the very bottom here. I'm starting the trend line at the very low at that point right there. And I'm projecting out, just gradually looking for a secondary point that I connect this trend line to. And if I project out, again keeping my eye on this second point, you can see that's the first level at which the trend begins. Now, the second part of the fan actually begins at the second point from the first trend line. Now, follow me here as I start my second fan line from that point and project out to another low, again extending that trend line out a bit and dropping it right there. And we continue this process where the third fan line begins at the third point touched in the accelerated trend, and I again extend my trend line out to this point right there. And that's your fan. Now, as I zoom into a weekly chart, you're going to see that these fan lines are holding quite nicely, and you could even go another step further and draw another fan line from the most recent low that we have bouncing off of the third fan line. And you can see that the angle at which this fan line is moving is quite vertical. So to use this as a tool for managing risk, if you have any long positions in the diamonds, what you would do is you would put your stop somewhere below this final and most extreme fan line. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, then you would draw a horizontal line from here, and you could set a stop at the third, I guess you could say, most accelerated trend line in the fan. And depending on what your risk tolerance is, you could also put a stop further down somewhere below the second fan line. So again, to recap, this is the first fan line that we drew, second fan line, third fan line, fourth fan line, all accelerating in a more vertical angle for the trend. Now this isn't really complicated because you just have to learn how to draw your trend lines and you'll get a better idea of how to accelerate them. And as you back out, you can see that vertical price moves generally exhaust themselves over time, and then you could again manage risk and actually find when these major angles or trends are starting to break down. You know, going back to my monthly chart, you can see that this is a pretty steep trend that we're looking at right now, but eventually the trend will have to break and we'll move into a correction mode. And that's why technical analysis is such a powerful tool with managing risk, because it really helps us get out into a cash position when things start to look a little bit too extreme. There's nothing wrong with moving the cash and waiting for the market to correct before getting back in, and this strategy could be used on any stock. So what I would suggest is you go out and look at random stocks, start with a long-term trend, go to a 20-year monthly chart, zoom in. You could even do this on a minute-by-minute chart. It doesn't matter as long as you have an upward trend to measure and continuing to accelerate the trend lines in that steeper angle. So that is your lesson in fans and how to draw them. Please be sure to go back to the Market Guys website and look at the 1% rule for managing risk, because you can use that video in conjunction with the fan patterns to minimize your risk to 1% of your total account. It's really very exciting to learn these concepts. It helps you sleep at night, it helps you manage risk, and above all, it helps you stay most profitable, because if you could lose less when you're wrong, that is where you'll reach your ultimate levels of success. This is AJ Monty with the Market Guys signing off.